I just have to say, he's kicking so much right now and giving me like epic pressure on my cervix. And I can't even talk through it. I'm like, I don't know if you guys can see, I'm trying to physically hold up my belly right now because it hurts. Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan and I am documenting my second and final pregnancy. This video is going to be a two-part video. The first part, I'm going to be filming my symptoms for my 37-week pregnancy update, and the second half I'm going to be talking about my midwife appointment and my birth plan. So today is actually Sunday and I am 36 plus 6 days pregnant. So tomorrow I will be 37 full weeks, and then on Tuesday I'm going to have my midwife appointment. A lot has changed in this past week. I'm feeling my body starting to prepare for labor. This pregnancy has been very different from my daughter's. So all the things I'm going through right now, I never experienced with her. So I really don't know what to expect. On the one hand, I'm desperately hoping I make it to my due date, and hopefully even like one day over would be awesome. I'm due on New Year's Eve, but I think a New Year's Day birthday would be awesome. But also there's so many social benefits here in Sweden to being born at the beginning of the year instead of the end of the year. So I'm really hoping I actually make it past my due date. But I have days where I'm like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I just hope we get past Christmas, because I want to focus all that time on my toddler. She's only two and a half-ish. You know, it's like her first Christmas where she's actually going to be aware of what's going on, and I just don't want to be distracted. I just want to have this holiday with her. But who knows? I mean, I could easily go over my due date, or I mean, based off of what I'm feeling now, I feel like it could actually be just any day. My daughter was born on her due date, which I actually think they had my due date wrong. I feel like the due date I was given was a week before she was actually due. I feel like I gave birth to her at 39 weeks instead of 40. She was only 6.5 pounds and 19 inches long, which is pretty small for a 40 plus 0 baby. I was reading my apps this morning for 37 weeks, and they say a 37-week baby on average is like 6.5 pounds and 19 inches long. So they're saying that the baby that is in my belly right now could potentially be the size of the baby that I gave birth to at 40 weeks. But anyway, I'm digressing. So I do hope I at least make it past Christmas, maybe even past my due date, but we've got some things going on this week. The first major thing I would say that is different, that's happened over the past 7 days, is that excuse me, my pelvis has changed. The pants that I've been able to comfortably fit in for the entire extent of my pregnancy so far no longer fit. They feel impossibly tight. So I feel like my hips have gotten wider, and this is not just pants that go over my belly, they go under my belly, so it's not like my belly has gotten bigger. I just genuinely think my hips have gotten wider. In conjunction with that, this past week I have been dealing with a lot of sciatica and nerve pain in my hips and my butt cheeks, and it's happening in both of them. And it happens in different circumstances. Like my right side will flare up if I'm sitting on chairs for any length of time, including my car seat. When I go to stand up, the transition from sitting to standing is excruciating. I notice what helps that is if I sit with like major exaggerated lumbar support. So I'll just stick a whole pillow behind my back to accentuate the arch. But my left side flares up anytime I like work out, go for walks with the dogs, things like that, or if I'm very active around the house, it'll just flare up on me and it'll be very, very painful. Getting in and out of bed can be somewhat horrifying when I feel locked up, because like there have been several instances this week where I get locked up and I just can't move, I can't get out of bed, and anyway, so that's not fun. In addition to the pelvic changes, I have once again started to notice some sensitivity in my pubic bone where the two fronts of the pelvis meet, which is called your symphysis pubis. That was giving me a little bit of issue earlier in my pregnancy when I was working out a lot. When I eased off of working out, it hasn't given me any problems since, but I have noticed some sensitivity in that area, which leads me to believe that my pelvis is just starting to loosen up and prepare for childbirth. In addition to all of this, I've noticed that my hips get a little bit sore at night when I get up to like use the restroom. That's the first time I've ever had like hip soreness, and I don't know if this is related to pelvic change. I don't think it is, but kind of like a segue is that I've had my normal amounts of Braxton Hicks. If you've watched any of my other updates, you'll know I've been dealing with Braxton Hicks pretty much since I was like 17 to 20 weeks pregnant. I was able to resolve a lot of it by increasing my water intake and decreasing my activity levels later on in pregnancy, but now I just kind of get them routinely. They're nothing too bad. They are worse in the evening and especially on days that I've been active, but for the past week on and off, I have also been dealing with menstrual-like cramps. They are mild to moderate. They're at like the bottom of my uterus and they wrap around to my back. They are not timeable. They last for long periods of time. Like I timed one of my cramps and it lasted like 3 to 4 minutes. And they only happen, they pretty much only happen when I'm in bed trying to sleep. Whether it's a daytime nap or nighttime sleep, that's when it happens. Sometimes they're bad enough that they kind of wake me up or stir me from a deeper sleep. Changing positions and stuff like that does not help them. Nothing I do helps them except for like sitting in the bathtub and spraying warm water on my belly. I don't think these are contractions, like real contractions. I would say if anything it's maybe prodromal labor. But oh my god, he's moving so much right now. But it's starting to happen, and I never had those cramps with my daughter ever, except for when I had my first contraction on the day I gave birth to her. So this is all new to me. I don't really know what's going on, except that maybe my uterus is just feeling kind of crabby lately. I have been continuing to have a lot of nesting urges. Oh my god, you guys, he's moving so much and it hurts. Oh, it hurts down below. I have continued to just dive into every corner of this house and clean it out and organize and throw stuff away. I feel like I have a good accounting for pretty much everything that's under this roof, which feels really good, to be honest. I deal with heartburn still. I have good days and bad days. Good days I don't feel anything. Bad days, not even like actual antacid medications help. I just have to deal with it. Of course it's worse when I'm laying down, but I even have it when I'm sitting up on those days. I look at my daily bump pictures that I take. I do see my bump sort of shifting up and down, so I know, oh my gosh, I know he's dropping in and out of my pelvis. I just have to say, he's kicking so much right now and giving me like epic pressure on my cervix. And I can't even talk through it. I'm like, I don't know if you guys can see, I'm trying to physically hold up my belly right now because it hurts. I have no appetite. I am forcing myself to eat at this point. My diet has been horrible. Like a couple days ago, I realized I had 2 pieces of toast with cheese on it for breakfast. I had a bowl of oatmeal for lunch. I had another 2 pieces of toast like in the evening, and then I had a bowl of granola for dinner. Like literally carbs from the morning I woke up to the morning, or to the moment, sorry, from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. I don't think I ate even a single piece of fruit in the day, except for like my 6 dates that I'm eating every day now. So I'm trying to be a little bit better with my produce. But you know, I'm just doing whatever I can to get some food in. I've been eating protein bars mostly for lunch, just as an easy way to get some sort of nutrition in. I'm just not hungry. I am though very thirsty, and I go through about 1.5 liters of 1.5% milk every day. I cannot get away from milk, and it's weird because it's not like I crave it, but I'm always thirsty and it's the only thing I want to drink. And I figure it's calcium, it's fat, it's protein, you know, it's something, and it's fortified with vitamins and whatever, so I just drink a lot of milk. I've given up on water. I have like a glass of water at the beginning of the day with my vitamins, and at the end of the day with my second half of my vitamins, and that's more or less the only water I get, except for whatever I get in my red raspberry leaf tea. I've pretty much just resigned to the fact that I am a milk drinker right now. I am also very, very tired, and it's not the type of fatigue I've felt previously in my pregnancy that was related to low iron. I'm back to full speed ahead on my iron supplements after taking a break from them. So I know my iron levels are okay. My body is just tired. I've been sleeping very deeply and soundly at night. I've been taking naps, like 2-hour naps every day. And then I wake up and I feel rested and refreshed, and then I need to like sleep again. My body, I just sense my body knows that some stuff is coming up very soon in the future, and it's really trying to just conserve energy and do whatever needs to be done on the inside to make sure that we're all healthy and ready for what is coming ahead. So that's exciting, and it also feels really good to be getting this rest in, because I have been like frantically nesting for so long now. I spent like all of my second trimester crazy working out, 2 workouts a day, and then like the rest of, you know, my pregnancy up until now, I have been just insanely go time, you know, walking the dogs, playing with my toddler, making all of our freezer meals, cleaning all out my house, preparing and researching, and just doing all of these things that has required a lot of activation. And now that all of it is done, everything is done, I have no loose ends untied, I feel my body letting go, and just, it feels so luxurious, you know, to lay down and nap and know deep down inside that everything is peaceful, everything is ready, we're all good. So it's a good feeling. I think that's it in terms of the symptoms I've been having right now. It seems ironic because like throughout this video I've been saying how much my baby's kicking, but in actuality I have noticed changes in his patterns lately. He has days where I feel like these big shifting motions where I kind of feel like he's trying to burrow himself deeper into my pelvis. On Thursday of last week, he actually rotated posterior for the first time in my pregnancy that I know of. And I know this because of the changes in the way he was kicking and moving. I was feeling all of his movements here at the very front of my belly. I could feel hands, I could feel feet and knees and things like that. I could feel all of his anatomy right at the front of my belly, and I freaked out. But he has since rotated back to his normal position of sort of his body's along my left side, and he's facing diagonally in toward the back of my right hip. So he's kind of back in position, thankfully. But anyway, so I have had a couple days where I feel him sort of like burrowing in, And then I have days where he's pretty quiet. Like I feel him, but they're just very subtle movements. Anyway, so yeah, maybe he's just running out of space, and maybe he's just tired too. I don't know. But that's it for my symptom portion of this video. And like I said, I'm going to come back and tack on my midwife update, and I'm going to talk about my birth plan. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Okay guys, it is now Wednesday and I'm 37 plus 2. Yesterday I had my 37-week midwife appointment, and we also set in stone my birth plan. So I thought I would go over everything that happened in my midwife appointment first because it was a little dramatic. My blood pressure was 96/60, so that was normal. My hemoglobin or iron, whatever, was 132, which was normal, and my blood sugars were 4.8, which was normal. But a couple kind of crazy things happened. So first of all, she measured my fundal height, and I've dropped another centimeter. So I'm now in week 37, but I'm measuring at week 34, which wouldn't necessarily concern me because I know that sometimes your fundal height can shrink if the baby engages itself, but my baby is not engaged. But I also know that the fundal height can change due to fetal positioning, which is probably what is affecting my fundal height, so I'm not worried about it too much. But to that end, I found out yesterday that my baby has rotated posterior. And like in the words of my midwife, she thinks he's still head down. Like, what? I know he's still head down because I feel hiccups down there, and like I know where his feet are. I think the only reason she said she thinks he's head down was because when she tried to feel for his head down by my pubic bone, she couldn't get like a good grasp on it, most likely because he had rotated posterior at the time of my appointment. So I had a bit of a total meltdown yesterday when I got home over that, because having a posterior baby is like the second worst thing in my mind that could happen in terms of positioning. The first worst thing, of course, is having a breech baby. So now I have to get on top of doing all the things, and I feel like I'm able to get him back to an anterior position on my own, and yet after a day of working in the office, like sitting on a chair, sitting on my like Pilates ball, he seems to go back to posterior. So it's like every time I work a whole day, he rotates, even despite the fact that I am sitting properly, I've got good posture, I'm leaning forward, I'm moving around a lot. He just doesn't seem to react well right now to me sitting. So that is stressful, but assuming I make it closer to my due date, I've decided that my last day of work is going to be Wednesday of next week, which is 1 week from now, and then I'm just going to be done. I'm going to be done. And so if I can just make it to Wednesday of next week, then all the days after that, I'll have all the time in the world to walk and do yoga and do like the spinning babies stuff. So hopefully before he engages, I can get him into a better position. But that was a little stressful. But even more stressful was we had like a heart rate issue last night. My midwife actually spent quite a long time listening to the baby's heart rate. She said that it was sustaining at a pretty high pace, and it wasn't normal for him to be doing that. And it wasn't like coming down, so it was like sustaining somewhere between 168 and 172 beats per minute. But then it finally went back down to the 140s, and it stayed in the 140s, and she seemed to be happy with it. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know if he's like stressed out. I have noticed that his heart rate does get that high up whenever she first checks for his heart rate. So I'm wondering if he just doesn't like to be poked so hard, because my midwife, before she listens with the Doppler, she listens with the earpiece, and she has to press in pretty hard. and particularly so this time because he wasn't in a left occiput anterior position, he was rotated posterior, so she was really having to press kind of hard to find his heart rate. So maybe that just kind of bugged him a little bit, but now that is on my mind, and I can tell you guys right now, I know he's posterior because I can feel the way he's kicking, and when he kicks off of my belly, he burrows into the back of my spine, and that is not comfortable at all. So on that note, I'm going to kind of change position. Yeah, but that was my midwife appointment in terms of statistics, and then we talked about my birth plan, so I thought I would share that right now, with the caveat that I call it a birth wish list, because I fully know and understand that shit could hit the fan, anything could happen. I have very little control over my birth. So all of the things that I wrote down in my förlossningsbrev are under the caveat that it's like in a perfect world when everything is going normally, this is what I would like to happen during my birth. So I told her that, number one, we plan on laboring at home as long as possible. So that's not really, I guess, a birth plan thing, but that is what we plan on doing. The second thing was that I do not want to have an epidural, and I would not like them to offer me one. And I would rather they not even bring it up at all unless it is medically advisable, because I know there are certain situations where getting an epidural sometimes is a good recommendation or a good intervention to prevent other more dramatic outcomes. So there's that. I did say I would like to have access to gas and air, which is called lustgas here in Sweden. I want to have access to a big Pilates ball. I asked for access to the birth tub and the shower, and my midwife actually also does deliver babies at the hospital that I'm going to be delivering at, and she told me that there are 6 rooms and 3 of them have tubs and showers and 3 of them have nothing. So she told me it's a 50-50 chance that I'll actually get one of these rooms. It's sort of first come, first serve. But I feel like the odds are even less because if one of the better rooms is open, I know that regardless of what people put on their birth plan, the better room is given to just whoever comes in first. So hopefully I'm like within the first 3 people to walk into the labor and delivery ward so that I can get that room. But I did tell them that I would like the option of having a water birth. I personally am not really wanting to have a water birth. I don't think I really want to be in the water with like all those juices and everything and blood and then having to get up and get out of the tub to deliver the placenta. That just sounds like not a good time to me at all. I think I just want to stay in one place, whether that's the bed or the floor or the shower or whatever. I don't think I really want to have to like get out of the tub directly after giving birth. But you never know what will feel good in the moment. So I told her I would like the option of a water birth, and she told me that our hospital does allow water births, but it's only if I get a midwife who's comfortable delivering in the water, and not all of them are yet, because it's sort of like a new thing that the hospital allows water births. So again, that's sort of like a, just sort of depends on who I get assigned to, but I've written in my birth plan that I would like to do a water birth, so if there is a midwife on hand that is comfortable with it, she will be assigned to me. I also asked for access to what they call here a gåbord, which translates to like a walking table, and really it's just like this, like think of a granny walker with wheels on the bottom, except instead of the handles being sort of down low, you've got arm pads and handles up high, like kind of shoulder height. So you can just put all your weight onto this walker and be mobile and walk around. So it sort of like assists you with the gravity, so you can just relax your body onto the arm pads, but still be able to walk around the room. So I didn't have that in my last delivery, but I saw pictures of other girls who did have it, and I thought that was a pretty banging idea. So I asked for access to that. I did not ask for access to a birth stool. I was originally going to ask to have that in my room as well, but after listening to a couple podcasts on the Birthful podcast about protecting your perineum and stuff, they actually advise you not to give birth in that position because you're more prone to tear. So I do think that it's still a useful tool to try to help a baby descend into the pelvis by sitting on like a stool like that. But if I don't plan on giving birth on it, then I'm happy to just use the toilet, you know, and just go sit on the toilet here and there during my labor if people think that that might help. I don't want to give birth on a toilet, but that's not my plan. So that's it in terms of equipment I've requested. I have asked that we are able to turn all the lights off and close the shades in my room because we want to bring in our own LED candles and just have like a quiet, dark space to labor in. But I told them that it was okay that the midwives turn on the lights for any kind of examination or anything where they would need like actual lighting for. I'm okay with that. So I told them about that. I told them that I would like the option of looking in a mirror when I'm pushing, and I would also like them to ask me if I'd like to feel the baby's head when it's crowning. I don't actually know if I will do either of those things. To be very honest, they freak me out when I think about it, like, ah. But this is my last baby and it's my last opportunity. And if the opportunity presents itself and I feel like really just seizing the day, I think I'm gonna do it just to be able to take part in that experience. It might be cool. And I also, this was an important thing. I told my midwife to write in my birth plan that I want the midwife who is gonna deliver me to be very, very, very clear with me if I must push. If it is very important that I push, that the baby must come out, you really need to get this baby out, you're doing it wrong, like, or whatever, like you need to push because it's very important to get the baby out. Otherwise, I don't want them to coach me through pushing at all. I just want to do whatever feels natural to my body. And the reason I wrote this in my birth plan this time was because due to my own inexperience and some language barriers, because I delivered in Sweden with my first kid, my midwife was explaining to me what was happening. And she said to me, you know, you're pushing and your baby's head is coming out, but then it's going back in and it's coming back out and then it's going back in. And I thought that that meant I was doing something wrong. And between that and being in extreme pain, I decided on my next push that I was just going to get this baby out. And I launched her into the world and I tore myself everywhere, like everywhere. Thankfully, they weren't bad tears, but it was also because she was probably a small baby. It wasn't until later when I educated myself that that's actually supposed to happen, and it's good for the head to kind of crown and then recede and then crown and then recede because it helps to stretch the tissues and get some blood flow going there and everything like that. So I never felt the urge to push with my daughter. And it could be because I had a walking epidural, but I felt everything anyway, so I think I would have felt like that urge, but I never really felt it. So this time around, I would like to take my time, breathe through the pain, breathe through the crowning, and just really ease the baby out of my vagina because I do not want to tear at all. I think that a lot of the tearing and associated very prolonged pain that I experienced from my first birth fed into my postpartum depression. Yeah, so let's see, the pushing, and then I told them I'm okay with getting the Pitocin shot to help manage the delivery of my placenta. I told them that I do not want the cord to be cut until the placenta is out of my body. Part of that is for like the benefits of delayed cord clamping, even though my hospital does that anyway. But also I just kind of want to look at it. I want to see everything intact and just sort of see how nature designed this whole apparatus of placenta and cord and baby. I just kind of want to look at it for a minute before we cut it and, you know, toss everything, because I think it would be a nice way to honor it. I mean, if you think about it, that little egg, the day it like implants in the uterus, 50% of those cells is the baby, and 50%, half of the cells in that little egg, go to the placenta. So like that's a substantial part of the creation of this child, is the placenta. And I feel like people don't want to ever look at it or just appreciate what nature has evolved to create in us to help sustain and grow this life. I just think it would be really cool to see it, even though it might be gross. I still think it would be cool to see it and just be like, hey, thanks for, you know, like helping me grow this baby. And then in terms of encapsulation, I've talked a lot about how we were going to do placental encapsulation. I don't actually think we're going to do it anymore, and it's mostly because of finances. I've spent so much money on accessories for pregnancy, postpartum, breastfeeding, everything like that, that I just really don't have disposable funds to encapsulate my placenta. So we'll have to wait and see. I haven't made a final decision yet. I'm just going to wait and see. But I think if I don't encapsulate it, I'm still going to bring it home. And this might sound weird to some of you guys who aren't like super hippy dippy, but a lot of women actually keep their placenta, they plant it in a yard and put a tree over it, right? Just returning all those nutrients and vitamins and everything back into nature, and just kind of like helping to fertilize ground and grow like a beautiful tree out of it, which I think is a really cool idea. So we may bring it home and wrap it up really, really tight and stuff it into the deep freezer and wait until the spring for the ground to thaw so that I can plant my living Christmas tree on top of it. I don't like killing Christmas trees, so I always get a living Christmas tree. Ours is right there in the corner. I don't actually know what like species of tree it is this year, but we will have that little guy in our house until the spring, and so I thought maybe I could just plant our Christmas tree on top of our Christmas baby placenta and have just a, you know, a fun way of giving back to nature. So that is that in terms of placenta. And then the only other thing I think I asked for again was an extended stay at the patient hotel, which my midwife has put in that I should be given at least a week in the patient hotel if I want to use it, so that I have access to lactation consultants and that kind of thing. So I'm really excited about that. And that's it. So this is turning into a long video, so I'm gonna cut it out now. But I will show my belly because I haven't done that in a while. Okay, so this is my 37 plus 2 belly. If I were to take down the pants, that's what it looks like from the side. Here it is from the front. I've got a full linea negra, and from the side again. I miraculously still do not have stretch marks. I just don't expect that to last at all. Like, the two things I haven't had happen to me are I don't have stretch marks and I have not yet peed my pants due to like sneezing or coughing or laughing or something, but I still have 3 whole weeks to go, possibly more, so I don't know how much longer my luck is going to last, because this belly right now, this is the size that I was when I compare pictures. This is how big I was at 40 plus 0 when my daughter was born, and I still have 3 weeks to go to grow this giant kahuna. So who knows what's gonna happen, but this is what it looks like for now, and that's that. So thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to stay tuned for the end of my pregnancy. Otherwise, I will see you guys around next time. Bye.